Hello everyone and welcome back to WhiskyWars for an episode of the Neckpour. This is a new series that I'm doing on the channel. I really hope you guys like this kind of video that I'm starting to do. If you do, please do consider clicking a like button down below and the subscribe button as well. Really helps the channel out. So today we have a Redbreast whiskey for Irish Whiskey Month. And this is a whiskey that I've been saving for quite a few months now. I haven't opened it in anticipation for this month to do the review. And this is part of the Iberian series. So it's a limited edition Redbreast. It's the Tawny Port edition. So this Redbreast is the third edition in the Iberian series. You have the Lustau, which I love. And that's not limited edition. That's just part of the core range. Then you had last year, in 2022, you had the PX, which I never managed to get my hands on, and I'm really, really salty about not getting my hands on it. Good news for you guys in America, that's back in stock in America, but it's not in Europe, so that's a shame. But here we have the Tawny, so I knew I had to buy this bottle as soon as it came out because I wasn't going to risk not getting it again, not for a second year in a row. So this whiskey is bottled at 46%, and as I mentioned before, it's a Tawny Port cask finish. So that's a fortified Portuguese wine. And also different, if you know your ports, it's going to be very different to a ruby port, which is a bit more sweet. Tawny Port is usually still sweet, but a bit less than a ruby. But it's got a lovely nut influence in it as well. So, new bottle. Very excited to open it, very excited to try it. Also, I know I never really talk about it, but the look of this whiskey I think is really nice. For some reason, the pink really goes with the whiskey, and it really stands out, and I like that about it. I have to be honest, if you do read the tasting notes that they give for this whiskey, it sounds incredible. I have to be honest, when I buy a whiskey, I don't really pay attention to notes, because a lot of times I feel it's just marketed, it's just to sell the whiskey. Even bad whiskies have beautiful notes on there, but the notes, they sound great. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's a nice healthy pour. Okay, initially I'm getting a decent amount of ethanol off the nose. I'm just going to give it a little bit of time to breathe, because that was not what I was expecting, especially for the price. This whiskey is more expensive than the PX of the year previous. I think just because of how quickly that PX sold out, and then people were scalping it and selling it on a second-hand market for extreme prices. I mean, you were paying £250. You can't find it less than £250 in the UK. So, and it was a £70 whiskey. So they increased the price of this one, and I think it's around £80. I think it's around £80. That's what I paid for it. I think the PX was about 65 to 70. I'm getting nothing on the nose on this whiskey. That's really unfortunate. Now, fortunately, I've got experience with whiskey. Sometimes this can happen with certain whiskies, and they just start to open up a little bit over time. But for the money, I'm not too happy right now. Based on the money this cost, yeah, not good so far. But I have to be honest, I can't lie to you guys and just read the notes on the back. I mean, they sound great. I can't just go, oh, the nose, it's buttered pastry, caramelised almonds, praline, dried cherries. On the taste, fresh plums, coated chocolate hazelnuts and dried fig. It sounds amazing, but I'm not getting it on the nose. So I've got to be honest and just tell you guys what I'm getting. I think if you're going to buy this whiskey, give it time to open up. That's what I would say. And guys, if you've stayed to the end, you've been rewarded, because it's still the first pour that I poured. I've not poured any more, but I have given it about 20 minutes just to open up, and I'm starting to get cherries, and figs on the nose, and that's really exciting. Now I've not tasted it since, but that nose is really starting to open up. Thank goodness for that. Yeah, I'm getting some classic sherry notes, even though it's a port cask. That sweet red fruit is coming through, but it's got that little bit of a classic Redbreast butteriness as well, which I just love. A little bit of the wood tannins, you'd expect that. But yeah, different. It's coming through now. It's starting to open up. I'm getting a lot more happy now. A lot more happy. Because I couldn't believe it. I thought, I can't post this video. You know, there's no way that can be true. That's why I was saying I know it's going to open up. It's just going to take some time. And it has. It really has. I'm getting a bit of nuts now coming through, like a caramelised nut. I don't know if you've ever had the nut brittle. Yeah, I'm getting that. That's nice. Oh, I'm starting to like that a bit more. Yeah, some characters coming through on the nose. Very happy right now. Again, I can't tell too much about it right now off the nose, apart from the cherries and the figs, they're coming through. And cherries and figs I've not really picked up on a Redbreast before. They're not the notes that I normally describe a Redbreast as. So that's purely from this Tawny port cask. I do get nuts normally on a Redbreast. I do get buttery notes, and I do get red fruit sweetness on normal Redbreasts. But I think the difference is going to be the figs and the cherries on the nose. Let's do a little bit of the taste. Yeah, so you're not going to be disappointed. It's going to taste like a normal Redbreast on the taste. I would say, though, a little bit more sweet, which is a good thing for a lot of people. But at the same time, it's a little bit, and I'm not going to call it oak. There's a little bit of a wood spice, but I'd say it's almost like a sawdust or a white pepper. And it comes across quite spicy, actually. Maybe something a little bit floral as well. The finish is very dry. That's what I would say. It's probably the driest finish I've had on a Redbreast. Off initial impressions, obviously. Something a little bit floral. The finish isn't long right now, but again, it's starting to open up, so perhaps that's going to change. But for right now, the finish is quite short, and it's dry, very dry. But it's sweet, classic Redbreast butteriness, oak tannins, that wood spiciness, but it's a little bit less like an oak and a little bit more like a sawdust, but it's sweeter. So I think there's good and bad to this whiskey. I can't help but think this whiskey is going to be a little bit younger than other Redbreasts in the range. I'll have to do some checks on that. I will do some checks on that when it comes to the full Whiskey War video that gets released. And I can't wait to compare this to another Redbreast. I think, since I don't have the PX, I think I'm going to compare this one to the Lustau. And then I can really see the common features in the Redbreast, but also the differences from the Oloroso cask to the Tawny port cask. So I'm excited to do that review. But yeah, caramelised nuts, wood spice, cherries and figs. That's what I'm getting as of right now. Thank goodness I gave it a little bit more time and I kept the phone recording. I'll edit it down, obviously, but that was a good idea. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, I don't know if you have or not. If you haven't, you know, you probably think this whiskey is a lot worse than it maybe is. It's starting to open up now, and yeah, I'm excited for this whiskey. So they're just initial impressions first thoughts. Stay tuned for the full Whiskey War on this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button down below. It really does help the channel out and I'd really appreciate it. So thank you in advance. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you all for the next Whiskey War.